introduce this video really quick. This is the 11th video in my series on creating my own planner. Every year I create a budget tracker, and I thought I'd go ahead and just put it in here in case anyone else might find it beneficial. It's actually really simple, and so you'll find that I'm going to go through some instructions on how to use it. But full disclosure, this works really well for me because I get paid regularly. So if you are someone who doesn't get paid regularly on a regular schedule, this may not be the right tool for you. And obviously you also have to be pretty comfortable wanting to put your financial information in your planner. So I've done this for years and years, and so far I haven't had anything bad happen. But anyway, so that's what I'm going to walk through today. And if you have any more questions on how I manage my budget with this really simple framework layout, just let me know, pop them in the comments. All right, so if you're brave enough to put budget information, including maybe even what you get paid in a month, in your planner that you carry around with you, you might want to consider this layout. It's very simple. I'm going to show you how I use it. Please let me know if you have questions, because it is best for people who are paid on some sort of regular basis. In my case, I'm paid bi-weekly, so I get 2 paychecks every month typically, but what ends up happening is in longer months, I get 3 paychecks. And so the reason I developed this system is because of those months where you get 3 paychecks. Sometimes it feels like you have extra money, but you really don't. So the reason I did this layout for my budget and planning my expenses and how they're getting paid was so I could kind of map out by date and spread out my expenses, but still meet my due dates, and giving myself basically like a worksheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a structure or a layout on the next several pages and kind of talk through, but I will create some borders with pen, but I typically, when I'm working with my expenses, I'm actually using pencil because I always erase things and move things around. So this page is going to stay blank because this is where a good place to keep just monthly expenses or known expenses for the entire year. That way you have this as the reference page. Then what I do is, so I'm giving myself, I would almost call this like a budget tracker, a budget worksheet. And so what I do is I'm going to count down to, at the top, 2 squares. I'm just going to draw a line over, and I'm basically going to create a quadrant. So now I'm going to count over 18, so it's approximately half. It's approximately half the page. And then I'm just going to draw another line all the way down. And this is space, I'll show you how to use it in a second, but this is space that I use for the date of the payment and how much. So now I'm going to create another area down here. So I'm going to count down 23. I'm going to do a line over and over again. So this is a somewhat equal quadrant. And what I'm going to do, first I'm going to create a border here so I can show you what it will look like a little more clearly. So what I do is I put the pay date, so the date goes here. Again, I do all this in pencil in case things change. So the date will go up in this corner. And then I will write the amount of money I make. So let's say I made $1,000 a month. I'll write 1,000. And again, sometimes this changes depending on if you have multiple jobs or things change with your paycheck. And then what I'll do is I'll use this space here to write down each expense. So for example, I have a car payment, rent, electric, and then maybe I have cell phone, car insurance, etc. And so what I will do is I'll write the amount and then also the due date. And the idea is that as I'm plotting these out, so let's say I have a list of expenses over here, like I know in a month I'm going to pay all of these different things. I start taking this information and plotting it out so that I'm A, paying things on time according to their due date, and B, I like to spread out my payments. So what I'll do is I'll add the sum of the expenses, and then I'll write down here, I have this extra money. And so what happens is sometimes, like let's say you make $1,000 in this week and you have $300 left after all of this stuff. But then here, like let's say you have 800, just hypothetical. Well, I like to spread out and make sure that I don't have all of this excess over here, and I want to maybe spread it over here. So I may pull something, an expense, that over here into this next pay date if it won't be late. And that's kind of how I mentally work through. And I like to be looking a few paychecks ahead, because very often this will be, in the case of getting paid twice a month, I'm getting paid, this would be maybe 1 month, say this is January, and this is going to be February, and I'm able to plot things out in a way and erase and move things around and say, oh no, that's not going to be good there, and oh, I forgot about this. The other thing I'll do is, like, let's say I do have, God willing, this much money extra in a month. I will kind of put an arrow down here and I'll be like, okay, well, maybe I should put some of that into savings. Maybe I should put some of this into clothing, whatever it is. And I will just kind of leave that in my mind, is that money is kind of earmarked now based on the time that I get to it. Okay, what's the best decision for me? What's the best decision for my family? So this is how I use these spreadsheets. I will create a clearer view of this and post it, but kind of wanted to talk through how I use it. And I do typically plan out my spending several months in advance. So I'm going to continue to create the other spreadsheets. Again, I do this for the entire year.